Manchester United's 5-match unbeaten run is over. Everton edged past the Red Devils 1-0 at Old Trafford. But tonight, the story is not United's loss, nor is it about Everton's win. The spotlight is on an ugly, shocking, completely bizarre episode. Not between United and Everton players. This was a physical altercation between two Everton teammates. Idrissa Gueye was sent off for slapping his teammate Michael Keane. And here's the twist. Everton manager David Moyes said he saw nothing wrong with this. Opposition manager Ruben Amorim also backed it, and that raises a massive question. What message does this send about team culture in football? Now, Manchester United came into this fixture with confidence. 5 matches unbeaten, momentum on their side. Everton too were chasing a second straight win, and the tempo was high right from kickoff. But nobody was more charged up than Idrissa Gueye. Early in the game, Michael Keane made an error. United pounced and Gueye simply lost his cool. The two exchanged words, it escalated, Gueye slapped him, VAR checked it, straight off red. Everton down to 10 men after 13 minutes. But what followed next was shocking. Instead of condemning the behaviour, Everton's highly experienced manager David Moyes said this.
Quite pleased they were fighting each other, because it showed me that they cared. If we hadn't got that fight and that resilience like what they showed, we'd have never get through the rest of the game.
Sounds to me like a manager with 27 years in top-level football endorsing what transpired. Now, while intensity is important, wearing your heart on your sleeve is key, being okay to something like this sets a very dangerous precedent. Because if this becomes normal, team culture collapses. And it wasn't just Moyes. Listen to opposition manager Ruben Amorim.
Fighting is not a bad thing. Fighting is that you lose the ball and I will fight you because we will suffer a goal. I hope my players, when they lose the ball, fight each other.
Well, someone needs to remind them of the Ferguson-Beckham fallout. Back in 2003, Sir Alex Ferguson kicked a boot by mistake. It hit David Beckham above the eye, and that was the beginning of Beckham's exit from United. That's how fragile dressing rooms really can be. These are superstars, these are big footballers. One incident and the culture cracks. Now, to be clear, football is emotional. Aggression is part of the game. Players push each other, yell, argue. That's passion. But a slap on the field, that crosses the line. That becomes assault and not commitment. And we've seen intense teammate clashes before. 2020, Tottenham's Hugo Lloris confronting Son Heung-min. They shouted, they argued, they pushed around, but they never got physical. But go further back, 2008, Stoke City, Ricardo Fuller and Andy Griffin. Fuller slapped Griffin during the game. He received a 3-match ban, and the manager called a meeting to fix this. 2005, Newcastle United, Kieran Dyer versus Lee Bowyer. A full-blown fist fight in the middle of a Premier League game. Manager Graham Souness was disgusted. He made both players apologize publicly. That's how managers maintain standards in that dressing room. That's how you draw the line, because once you normalize violence, the moment you term it passion, you're telling players it's okay to hit your teammate if they make a mistake. And that is a recipe for disaster. You can praise hunger, you can praise desire, you can praise accountability, but you cannot praise physical violence of any proportion on a teammate. So the real question isn't whether Gueye should have been sent off. The real question is, what kind of a dressing room are we encouraging for the next generation of footballers coming up? And what point does passion become a license for violence? Because if managers start celebrating slaps on the field, football is heading down a very dangerous road.
They promised glory. They delivered fear. They shaped nations. They scarred generations. From brutal purges to propaganda machines, from stolen power to violent falls from the throne. Welcome to The Dictator, a series that strips away the myth and then exposes the men behind the tyranny. History remembers their power. Firstpost reveals their truth.